wasn't sure where he was coming from and what he was doing, and I'd spent a few years. And he looked at me and he said, who the hell is that? And he was probably right. But over the last few years, I have grown to like him, but more importantly, to respect him. He had a very, very tough job. And by the way, he's out of work now. It happened at midnight last night. He doesn't have a job anymore, so I think we all have to wish him well on his new journey, whatever that may be. So please, he's not making a speech tonight. We're just going to talk a little bit. But please welcome the ex-CEO of General Motors Corporation, Dan Akerson. It's been a hell of a ride for you. And I guess we can just reminisce a little bit, talk about what happened. But the first question I've got for you and for everyone is, how did you even get on GM's board?
Good looks. I got a call from someone at the Treasury in the summer of '09, and I guess I thought it might be a good idea that I could bring some value to the company.
And you were on the board for a year?
Just short.
And you were in the boardroom one day at the meeting, and what happened? This taxi walked in?
Well,
In the middle of an IPO?
we had just approved the S1, the board did. And Ed Whitaker, who came to the board the same time I did as chairman, announced that he was tired of flying up here on a weekly basis from San Antonio, and that he intended to resign. In December, we had the culmination of the IPO would have been late November, and having come from private equity, you just don't do that. You don't go on a road show, which was to become the largest IPO in the history of the world, and then try to sell the new vision of the new General Motors and say, oh, by the way, the CEO is leaving. And that was an interim CEO because we lost Fitz Henderson in the fall, December to be specific, of '09. It's tough to recruit when the odds against us were 12-1, Tony. That's a lucky number. And Keith handicapped it. So we were having a crisis. We approved this S1, and Ed basically said he was going to...
Now, did he stick around to help pick the next guy or gal?
No.
He just walked out of the room?
I don't want to be too specific.
No, I mean, just...
But no, he didn't.
So then what happened?
Well,
There were 14 of you?
I think there were 12. And
Did you draw straws?
I know this is new, so I'm going to be very careful. With some machination, I was asked if I would consider, first of all, I would come in as non-executive chairman.
Non-executive.
Yes, and then the conversation was about what do we do to get ready for the IPO. U.S. Treasury wanted to liquidate the position, and a couple of us were asked to leave the room. The debate came back, and I was asked if I would consider both CEO and chairman, and I said that was a pretty tall order. I just come back from overseas that Monday, and I was planning on going on vacation with my family, which we did, but then I told him I had to check with my boss, my wife, so...
What did you tell your wife on the phone? You had to call up and say, guess what?
No, I didn't talk to her on the phone. I'm married 40 years, I know better than that. I waited until I got home, and I says, "You'll never guess what happened today." And what did you consider? And took out. It was. I did try to convince her we wanted to balance our life.
She didn't say no.
Well, it was funny. I was quite enthusiastic about the company and the prospects it had. I mean, in private equity, we were used to difficult positions and restructurings, and General Motors to me represented more than just a company. It was part of what I grew up with, and I thought it was an honor to be asked, and it was a challenge to answer the call, to be honest with you.
Well, you've been with 4 meetings, 4 board meetings, 5?
People think you were a car guy.
Did the people think I was a car guy?
Did it matter?
It always matters what people think of you and your product. And
I mean inside.
yeah, I know it matters what people think inside too, because they have to have confidence in you. And leadership is defined in terms of competency and integrity. And so there was a little bit of my scratching my head and saying, do we have the good bones that I thought General Motors had and did? I mean, we have a very good team. And there was a generation of management. You see it today. You got Mark Royce, Mary Barra, Dan Hammond. You've got people that rose to the occasion. And we knew we had pay restrictions too. We just couldn't go out and pay big money to get a big-time management team. We
Can you now, by the way? So
Yes.
okay now?
Yes. Yes.
Like in the last month.
Yeah, just about time I'm leaving.
Just about when you left.
But I honestly, I don't think money was an issue, because this was a mission. This was, you had to believe you were doing this for the good of the company, this region of the country, and for the United States. This industry is about 4+% of the GDP, and General Motors is a big part of it in this country. And to have let it gone by the wayside onto the corporate heap, if you will, because of decisions that were made in the, I would argue, going back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the seeds were sown then, and they were unfortunately reaped in the 2009 period. So it could be fixed, and I love an underdog. It's great to be part of that. But to answer your question, the organization was very fragile. And there are a couple of dates in my mind in the last 3.5, 4 years that I remember. One of them was when we came back from doing the IPO. We had a big, several thousand employee meeting in the Winter Garden over at the Red Center. A man I don't even know, I remember, I can see his face, he came up to me, he was in tears, and he says, 6 months ago I thought I was not only going to lose my job, I was going to lose my home. And here we pull off one of the biggest IPOs in the history of the world. I mean, it was, I knew I made the right decision, but I also knew we had a hell of a lot of work to do to attack the systemic issues that challenge.
I don't mean to be schmaltzy, but you're a Navy grad. Was there a patriotic sense when you said, listen, I've been making a lot of money in Carlisle, things are good, I'm retired, building a new house, I don't need this. But you signed on for a tour.
Yeah.
Actually, you thought it might have been a 5-year tour. But was there a patriotic
Very
part
much
of it?
so, yeah.
You think other people in the company felt the same way, or was it something unique that you had because of your background?
I think I was one of the first that verbalized it, but no, that the GM employee base was very committed. I think we were embarrassed as a company that we got in the situation we were in. We wanted to, and this isn't a political statement, we wanted to validate the confidence that 2 separate administrations of 2 radically different political perspectives believed that this was the right thing to do. And notwithstanding all the criticism we got over the last 3.5, 4 years, 5 years, I think it's pretty hard. You could argue the logic, and it was debated. At some point in time, this country's gotten to the point where we argue about things and debate it, and somebody's got to go out and do it. And hats off to the GM team. I think the folks in the company did a great job.
Were you thinking in your own mind, I've got these folks that are going to be good. They're part of my team. And then I've got these folks that aren't going to make it. Are you picking and choosing them? I mean, is that something that, you were the commander-in-chief, was that something you had to kind of do and pick your team? You picked the Mary Bars, and you picked the Royces.
Well,
I don't know where Danny came from.
Morgan
Kind
Stanley.
of showed up.
Well, we brought him in as treasurer, and he was instrumental in the IPO, and very quickly elevated to chief financial officer. In some sense, a CEO is like a general manager or a coach on the field. You got to make the tough calls. I mean, I'll give you a good analogy. Did Indianapolis make a smart move by trading Peyton Manning and bringing on this young quarterback, Luck? Well, Peyton Manning arguably had the best regular season of any quarterback in the history of the NFL, but he's 37 or 8. And this young quarterback, Luck, he's going to be around for another 10, 15 years. So do you go for long-term profitability or short-term gain? And we were playing long ball. In fact, that's one of the things I tried to stress. We make a decision today, let's make it and ask what are the successors going to think of us in 2043? And when we look out 30 years.
That's the year the Lions are going to win this.
They better get busy. I know that's a lot of
That's a joke. We're just kidding.
But you're always looking for the best talent, and you want to challenge it. And it's not necessary. And when my personal situation intervened, it was a question of not picking the right person, but the right team, getting them in the right places where they can be the most impactful for the company over the long term, and making sure they play together. And I came in and I said, look, no more. I mean, this industry, no offense, was a lot of personalities bigger than life, and everything from the way our offices. There were 4 people on the 38,000 square foot floor that I was on. I mean, if anybody was traveling, I thought I was in a morgue. I mean, it was quiet. There was nobody there. Everything big.
Did you have the office with the fireplace?
I had a bathroom. that was
Henry
big.
Ford, by the way, put that in, not you.
That's in the other building, the other tower. But I had a bathroom that was bigger than some offices I've had in my career.